Hey you, did you know that Bolivia had a coastline? Prior to 1884, Bolivia had approximately 400 kilometers of coastline. Now you might ask yourself, how'd they lose it? Well, it was because of the War of the Pacific. In 1878, Bolivia imposed a new tax on the Antofagasta Nitrate and Railway Company owned by Chileans, which was prohibited by the Boundary Treaty of 1874 between Bolivia and Chile. This led to Chile occupying the city of Antofagasta by February 14th, 1879, under the claim that they were doing so to protect the Chilean population of the city, which made up a large majority of the city. Although it was most likely due to taxes being levied on a Chilean company. Some things never leave the Americas, I guess. On March 1st, Bolivia declared war on Chile, because, they're occupying Bolivian land. Now the two are at war. But wait, there's another. Peru. Peru decided that they were going to try to mediate this dispute, but it didn't go anywhere. Sometime after this, Peru declared war on Chile, because they had a secret mutual defense pact with Bolivia that they signed back in 1873. Then, on April 5th, 1879, Chile declared war on both Bolivia and Peru. Now the war is officially on. Now for this video I've divided the war into 5 stages. The first stage is the maritime stage. The war would first start with battles at sea. The first battle was the Battle of Iquique on May 21st, 1879, in which the Chilean corvette Esmeralda clashed with the Peruvian ironclad Huáscar, in which the Esmeralda was sunk. There was also another naval combat that occurred on the same day, in which a Chilean ship, Covadonga, fought the armored ship Independencia, in which Chile came out on top. The next naval combat occurred on October 8th with the Battle of Angamos, as the Chilean ships Cotrin and Blanco and Calada attacked the Peruvian Huáscar and captured it, crippling the Peruvian fleet and giving Chile complete naval supremacy. The first land battle was fought on March 23rd with a Chilean army composed of about 540 soldiers, fought the Battle of Tupater at Clama against 130 Bolivian civilians armed with rifles. The battle left 20 Bolivians dead as well as 11 Chileans, and allowed Chile to capture the city. The second stage of the war was the Tarapacá campaign in late 1879. On November 2nd, 10,000 Chilean men landed in a town called Pizaga and kicked out the Peruvians. Then on November 19th, the Chileans were attacked by Allied forces at the Battle of San Francisco, also known as the Battle of Dolores, in which the Allies were defeated, suffering 296 casualties and 1,500 missing. Then on November 26th, the Battle of Tarapacá took place. These two battles gave them control of the Peruvian nitrate zone in the Tarapacá province. We now move into stage 3 of the war, this being the Tacna and Arica campaigns. On May 26, 1880, the Chileans attacked the Allies at Tacna. After 5 brutal hours of fighting, the Allies were defeated, with the Chileans suffering 2,200 casualties, while the Allies suffered between 3,500 and 5,000 casualties. Easily the most deadly battle of the war so far. Next we move forward a couple of months to June 7th with the Battle of Arica. The Peruvians defending the city with 1,600 men, while the attacking Chileans were attacking with 8,000 men. Many high-ranking officers in the Peruvian army were killed during the fighting. On October 22nd, 1880, we would get the Arica Conference, in which the United States tried to mediate an agreement between Chile and Peru to end the war. This fell through rather quickly, as Chile was not willing to give up the Tarapacá province in which they had captured from Peru, and Peru was not willing to cede the province to Chile. So the war continues. Now we move on to the fourth stage of the war, which was the Lima campaign, which took place between November 1880 and January of 1881. In this campaign, the Chileans landed 25,000 soldiers in the town of Pisco and advanced to the Peruvian capital of Lima. Along the way, Chileans engaged in a few battles, this being the Battle of Chorrillos on January 13th, in which many house-to-house fighting occurred. Then the Chileans fought the Battle of Miraflores on January 15th. The city of Lima surrendered sometime after the battles, in which the Chileans looted the city. The Chileans would occupy and manage the city until the end of the war. Now we move on to the fifth and final stage of the war, this being the Sierra campaign, which took place between June of 1881 and July of 1883, the longest campaign of the war. This campaign was a guerrilla war that was waged by the Peruvians as they lost control of the capital of their country, in which there were 3 battles that I'll briefly mention, these being the battles of Sangra on June 26, 1881, the Battle of La Concepcion on July 9th, 1882, and the Battle of Huamachuco on July 10th, 1883. The final battle defeated the last Peruvian defenders, in which the Peruvians signed a peace deal with the Treaty of Ancon. Chile got to keep the Tarapacá province and the towns of Tacna and Arica for 10 years. After these 10 years, a referendum would be held in both areas to determine whether they would stay with Chile or join Peru. The treaty was later signed with Bolivia in 1884, which ceded the Antofagasta province to Chile. Tacna would eventually be given back to Peru, giving Chile its modern-day borders. And that was the War of the Pacific.